I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free to access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information you would like to share, you can call us 970-677-4119. And if you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Wednesday program for June 3rd, 2020, DCTV Daily News. Photo Jesse Paul, Colorado Sun, a great paper that is extensively covering Colorado with dedicated journalists. This was released on Monday afternoon. Due to the Tuesday broadcast canceled, we are sharing the news of the next phase for Colorado COVID-19 operations today. Though you've probably already read or heard about it, not too much changing for a continued safer-at-home policy through the end of June, the article reads. Colorado Governor Jared Polis on Monday extended his safer-at-home coronavirus directive until July 1st, with some modifications giving more leeway for the state's older residents. Quote, "It may feel like we are getting back to normal, but the virus is still here, and it could surge back the moment we let our guard down," Polis said in a written statement. "We are still far from normal. Coloradans have to remain diligent and must continue staying home or in the great outdoors away from others as much as possible, wearing masks when we leave the house and washing our hands." End quote. The safer-at-home period during which restaurants and shops have been allowed to reopen was set to expire on Monday night. Quote, "Over these next few weeks, each and every one of us has a responsibility to protect ourselves and others, especially as we begin venturing out onto our trails and open space," the governor said. The changes to the safer-at-home order come even as healthcare experts warn that data points towards a possible coronavirus resurgence in Colorado. Health experts are worried that crowds gathering to protest the death of George Floyd, the man who died last week at the hands of police officers in Minneapolis, could lead to an increase in infections. I guess we'll see how that happens or not. Through Monday, 26,577 people have either tested positive for the disease or are considered to have infections because of their proximity to someone who tested positive. Nearly 1,500 who have contracted the virus have died, including 1,185 whose deaths have been directly linked to coronavirus. Polis changed the safer-at-home directive to allow people age 65 or older or with pre-existing conditions that make them vulnerable to coronavirus to visit parks and recreate outdoors as long as they wear a mask and stay at least 6 feet from others. This is a lot of government. People considered vulnerable to the disease cannot be compelled to perform in-person jobs under Polis's directive. Before the modifications, high-risk Coloradans, those age 65 or older or who have underlying health conditions, were required by the state to stay at home unless absolutely necessary or if they were essential workers. The safer-at-home order also advises Coloradans to get tested for COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, if they have symptoms, and continue practicing social distancing and limiting their social interactions to the greatest extent possible, end quote. Meanwhile, gatherings of more than 10 people are still prohibited, and businesses and governments are strongly encouraged to allow workers to telecommute as much as possible. Polis and his Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment are allowing short-term rentals, such as Airbnbs, to resume operating as of Monday. They must, however, follow state guidelines, including providing guests with soap and water and or hand sanitizer, provide guests with cleaning and or disinfectant products, avoid scheduling guests on back-to-back days to ensure proper cleaning can occur, routinely check infection data in the city or county of the rental, routinely check and implement local coronavirus guidelines, clearly communicate with guests regarding cleaning and disinfecting steps, collect all guests' contact information, and be prepared to support local public health contact tracing efforts if exposures do occur. Places of worship, outdoor recreation, and sports guidance is coming. The state is finalizing guidance this week that will allow places of worship, outdoor recreation businesses, and team sports to reopen or resume on Thursday. We'll have more tomorrow. They will be required to follow social distancing guidelines and frequently clean surfaces. For places of worship, draft guidance says that they can operate only at 50% of their capacity or with up to 50 people in their primary worship place. Outdoor recreation businesses must perform daily exposure and symptom checks of their employees and limit the number of people in their facilities to 50% of capacity or up to 10 people at any one given time. Team sports will be able to resume on a limited basis. Organized youth or adult recreational sports leagues can gather in groups of 25 if they are outdoors or groups of 10 if they are indoors. Playgrounds will be able to reopen, but only with up to 10 people at a time and proper signs about social distancing. Outdoor sports facilities, such as tennis courts, basketball courts, and fields, must follow the same rules. Quote, do not share snacks or water except in emergency situations, the guidance says. Outdoor swimming pools will be allowed to reopen at 50% of their capacity or up to 50 people, whichever is fewer. And we'll hopefully get some more details tomorrow, Thursday, as more of the information is provided to the communities for what the guidance from the top-down state governor's office and CDPHE provide. And now let's take a look at the local weather. It's going to be hot before some rain and a cool down at the end of the week. Today, hot and sunny with a high near 86 degrees with east-northeast winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. For tonight, we're looking at mostly clear skies and a low around 56 degrees with west-northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, which shift to the south in the evening. For Thursday, sunny and a bit hotter yet with a high near 88 degrees and light and variable winds. For Thursday night, mostly clear and a low around 57 degrees. Could be a bit gusty at times, as high as 20 mile an hour gusts. For Friday, we're looking for partly sunny skies and another hot day near 89 degrees. We get those typical hot winds shifting again, and now looking into Friday night is when we have our first 70% chance for showers and thunderstorms, and then showers likely after midnight. We need that gentle moisture and monsoon season for sure. Mostly cloudy overnight with a low around 55 degrees. And looking into the weekend for Saturday, showers likely with a possible thunderstorm in the morning hours, and then a 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Mostly sunny with a cooler high just near 75 degrees as those winds and rain come through. Saturday night, mostly clear with a low around 50, and as that pattern clears out, Sunday should be nice and sunny with a cooler high near 76 degrees. Sunday night, mostly clear with a low around 46, and into next week, it starts off a bit cooler on Monday with sunny skies and a high near 72 degrees. Monday night clear and a low around 41. We'll have to watch out for all types of weather in June. Our official area last frost date is around the summer solstice, June 20th. It's not out of the question we could see some temps dip at some point. And now, back to the news. Hundreds in Farmington and Durango continue to protest for an end to police violence. Liz Weber photo as reported in the Durango Herald. The other major national crisis stories continues. Quote, I can't breathe, yelled a crowd of more than 400 people in Farmington on Monday. More than 10 gathering together. The Justice for George Floyd protest brought out hundreds of people along Main Street in front of the Animas Valley Mall to advocate for people of color and protest police violence after the officer-involved death of an unarmed black man in Minneapolis. George Floyd, age 46, died on May 25th after Derek Chauvin, a white police officer, knelt on his neck for several minutes while he was handcuffed. Floyd, who did not appear to be resisting arrest, was pronounced dead at a hospital. Chauvin was fired along with other officers involved in the incident, and he was charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter May 29th. Protests since the incident have spread throughout the country, including a gathering in Durango on Saturday. Monday's protest was announced on Facebook by the San Juan College Young Democratic Socialists of America, but organized by a group of women of color who did not want their names shared, according to the event description. An organizer who spoke to the Durango Herald during the protest but asked that her name not be published said, quote, I'm an African-American woman. This is life or death for me. She said that there was a smaller protest on Saturday, about 10 people, but she partnered with local organizations to spread the word about Monday's protest. Quote, I was nervous, but I have faith and trust in my community, she said. Clarissa Rivera, who has lived in Farmington for the past 10 years, said some residents are proud of their racism. Quote, that's why we're out here, Rivera said. It's scary to know the people around you are secretly racist, end quote. Most protesters wore masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Of the 12 people interviewed during the event, protesters said that they came out to protest systemic racism and police brutality, to remember those killed in police custody and demand justice for Floyd. Alania, who attended with friends, wanted justice for Floyd and every person who has been killed. Quote, all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter, she said. Law enforcement officers nationwide have condemned the death of Floyd and the officer's use of force. Quote, if we as law enforcement leaders cannot plainly condemn this kind of event, we are failing our profession, our officers, and our communities, Farmington Police Chief Stephen Hebb said on Facebook. The protest on Monday was also attended by San Juan County Sheriff Shane Ferrari, along with city and state officers. One organizer said that the officers showed they valued their community by standing with the protesters. On Monday afternoon, the Farmington Police Department said it was aware of a planned peaceful protest and added in a statement, quote, "We are here to assist citizens who are exercising their First Amendment rights." A 2019 study found Black men have a 1 in 1,000 chance of being killed by police. Black Americans are also twice as likely to be shot and killed by police as white Americans, according to a Washington Post database of police-involved shootings. One study found 63% of Black Americans worried about police using deadly force on them or a family member, compared with 21% of white Americans who said they feared the use of police force. The same study found 78% of Black Americans saw the deaths of African Americans during encounters with the police as a broader problem. One protester, who wanted to be known only as Sam, said, "There are too many people dying from systemic racism. We're tired of it." Throughout the protest, organizers encouraged people not to be antagonized by people driving by or a small crowd of people who had gathered to watch the protest in a parking lot. Another protest is scheduled for 5 p.m. on Friday, according to organizers. Towards the end of the more than hour-long protest, protesters knelt in silence for 8 minutes, the amount of time the officers said to have knelt on Floyd's neck. They rose to the call of "Say his name," and the crowd answered George Floyd. And in the state capital, Denver had its 6th day of protesting, with thousands in attendance, not socially distancing, until the curfew kicked in at 9 p.m. Fortunately, the Colorado Capitol has been mostly a peaceful demonstration, not the fire and looting images we see from Minneapolis to LA and Portland to Portland, as they are reporting in the nightly news. If the COVID-19 stay at home, safer at home, lockdown, or whichever term of household arrest in any state that wants to use that, if that is wearing off and not working anymore, then the new curfews might have come in just in time. Some curfews as early as 1 p.m. in Los Angeles. Restrictions may be the key word for 2020 and protests be the other. Again, as an opinion note, stay healthy, stay calm, and stay safe. And in the Durango Herald by the Colorado Sun with a photo, William Woody. They have a wonderful, relatively new water park up in Montrose. It's a great attraction for their area. And the rivers are rising, and paddle shops and boat makers across Colorado are reporting record sales as more families dip a paddle in the state's waterways. Quote, "It's like strumming the perfect chord on your guitar. It just feels right," said Mike McCormick, an Eagle dad who has 2 boys, 11 and 14. He just bought his first raft, a 15-foot self-bailing Star Superbug. Quote, "This summer is about adventuring in place, and the boat brings that adventure in reach. It's the one thing the whole family agrees on. This was an investment in our family." Colorado is a hotbed of watercraft design, with innovative entrepreneurs creating all kinds of boats, rafts, and boards for navigating the state's rivers and lakes. And those designers all are reporting the busiest few weeks in the history of their businesses, with families placing boat orders as pandemic-related safer-at-home orders flow on. When the ski resorts closed, ski shops reported a run on backcountry skis. As public transportation ground to a halt, the world's bike shops were cleaned out. RV and camper dealers are reporting record sales as families explore a new way to vacation. And now formerly quarantined Coloradans are rushing the rivers. Quote, "It's on fire right now. Insane," said Mike Harvey, the co-founder of Badfish, the Salida stand-up paddleboard maker that has seen booming sales through May. Quote, "Best 4-week period we have ever seen," end quote. Phil Wasinski estimates that he lost about $500,000 in sales after he was forced to shut down his 35-year-old shop in Wheat Ridge. The month-long shutdown began in late March, just as business ramps up at Downriver Equipment, where a team of craftsmen make customized raft frames for all types of adventurers. Wakinski was able to keep a portion of his staff working through the shutdown and saw call volume and online orders double in the first weeks of May compared to last year. But of course, he said, walk-in traffic is way down. Quote, "In general, most people feel like the river is a good place to stay separated from the general public while still being close to your primary group. Everyone is ready to get outside," said Wazinski, noting growing interest among first-time buyers seeking family escapes on the river. Quote, "But I actually feel like we've seen less of this type of customers since things have started loosening up. We're mostly seeing folks who have some experience." Steamboat Springs stand-up paddleboard maker Pete Hall last year purchased Colorado Kayak Supply online, and he has seen solid demand both for his Hala Gear inflatable SUP boards and river gear orders at coloradokayak.com. Hall said buyers are snatching up inflatable kayaks and shorter rafts, which he called, quote, the easy button for solo river time. They also are buying and upgrading rafts. The raft is the RV of the river, and people are excited to get out there, Hall said. They are making more of their own plans for adventure. We are also seeing more people finally deciding to get into SUP after watching their friends for so long. Published in SerialPressIt.com with a photo of Letitia Van Kahn. This is a story on how some creative minds are able to think outside of the box, or inside the car, as it were, to get the party started. Okay, so it's not a local or regional story, but it might be in the future. From Stuttgart, Germany, at his first gig in more than 3 months, Dope Boy, a Dutch rapper, climbed the stairs to the stage, turned to the right, and stared out at the crowd. Before him was a sea of cars. Germany, shouted Michael J. Links, Dope Boy's master of ceremonies. Are you ready for Dope Boy? And the cars all honked back. Beyond cinema, the drive-in format never historically found a place within live event culture, but amid a pandemic, its time has perhaps come. Across Europe, pastors have set up drive-in churches, and promoters have set up drive-in concerts and drive-in plays, turning to the format as a means of hosting events while easily keeping audience members apart. In an era of social distancing, it turns out that there are few better distancing devices than a car door. Few have embraced this drive-in concept as avidly as the owners of Index, a family-run nightclub in Stuttgart, a small German town, which I must be mispronouncing, just east of the Dutch border, where Dope Boy played last Friday. Index has been one of the pioneers of the lockdown drive-in, holding what it has branded a drive-in disco every weekend ever since early May. Revelers arrive at the club in their cars, park in the adjacent lot, and then stay behind their wheels to listen to DJs and watch performers like Dope Boy. The events have proved surprisingly popular, despite lacking most of the physical experiences generally deemed essential to a successful club night. It's a good thing, too, because nightclubs like Index are not expecting to reopen their dance floors until 2021 sometime. Quote, this feels like Saturday again, said Ronan Zagstra, a 19-year-old student attending Dope Boy's show in his hatchback. Then he paused, quote, but without the drinking, another pause, or the dancing. Yet, these were just minor concerns for Mr. Zwagstra, a Dutchman who was here for the second weekend running. He likes the drive-in club experience so much that he drives nearly 60 miles to attend and crosses a national border in the process. Travel between the Netherlands and Germany has been less tightly regulated than other European borders during the pandemic. This isn't the kind of drive-in where lovers go to find privacy. Staff members wander the aisles between the cars, and the cars themselves are parked close together. But can people still flirt in a disco without a dance floor? Yes, said Jenny Kolak, age 24, a bank manager attending with her sister, Anna. Oh, yes. People write their numbers on balloons and hold them up to people in nearby cars. Or, said Miss Kolak, we scream at them. They scream at us. Then she added, you meet them in the toilet. Truth be told, the drive-in disco feels more like a musical festival than a club night. Guests arrive at 9 p.m. when the sky is still bright. The music ends at midnight so as not to annoy the neighbors. The only time guests can enter the club itself is to go to the bathroom, and even then, they must wear masks to satisfy German law. At all other times, they have to stay put in their cars in the parking lot. The passengers can drink alcohol, but they've got to bring it themselves, and if they want to dance, they must settle for wriggling in their seats. Yet over 100 cars attended Dope Boy's gig, with a driver and one passenger paying about $35 for the privilege. Extra occupants are $15 each. Several were there for the second or third time, like Mr. Zwagstra and the Kolak sisters. And dozens had driven for over an hour to be there, including several carloads from the Netherlands. To get into the spirit, many had adapted their cars for the occasion. Some of the Dutch had put police lights on top of their car roofs. Anna Kolak, aged 26, a 26-year-old driving instructor from Bielefeld, Germany, finished her lessons for the day before driving to the club in the same car she teaches in. She had brought confetti and glow sticks and covered the roof with twinkling Christmas lights, but the car door still read driving school. It's a bit crazy, Mrs. Kolak conceded. Tomorrow I will have another lesson and there'll be confetti everywhere. Eccentric though it is, the drive-in disco is just the latest bold endeavor by the owners of Index. Founded back in 1988 by Holger Bosch and his two brothers, the club itself was initially an outlandish idea. They built Index from scratch in an empty field outside of the small and otherwise unremarkable town, hoping it might attract visitors living further afield by hosting all-night raves. Their hunch paid paid off. Over the next 3 decades, Index became a destination venue, hosting international artists like Snoop Dogg and Sean Paul, and allowing the brothers to expand the club. Now it has 6 dance floors, a climbing wall, a swimming pool, and Mr. Bosch's pride and joy, a vast room built of ice, complete with its own bobsled run. When the pandemic forced Index to close in March, it was the club's first pause in operations since the Bosch family opened its doors more than 30 years ago. Quote, my wife loves my new job, Mr. Bosch said of his role as a drive-in disco pioneer. Now I'm home at 1 a.m., not 8 a.m. For his DJs, the drive-in experience was initially daunting, but ultimately refreshing. On a normal dance floor, a DJ can alter the set depending on the reactions of the dancers, said VYT, one of Index's resident DJs. At the drive-in, however, it's harder to gauge people's taste. Still, the drive-in has its advantages, he said. At a regular club, it takes hours for guests to warm up, but here, when they drive in, they're already hyped up, said VYT, now known outside the music business as Veit Engelker. The drive-in disco is nevertheless not to everyone's taste. At the back, it was difficult to see the stage, and after 3 hours, sitting in a car becomes uncomfortable. Quote, my legs are hurting, said Denise Schutt, a 27-year-old daycare worker who said she wouldn't be returning, and my back. But artists like Dope Boy are steeling themselves for months of honking and revving engines as they await reopening for nightclubs. There will be a lot of these car shows, said Dope Boy, whose real name is Jordan Jacot. We better get used to it. And a local note on July 4th activities or not, the volunteer fire department continues to work on providing a fireworks display that you can watch from home or safely in your car on Saturday night, July 4th. The official status of a parade is that the state offices are not allowing parades. That being said, as is happening in Denver all this past week, we will have a peaceful assembly starting at the Dove Creek Airport on July 4th at 8 a.m. The peaceful assembly will be demonstrating their support of Independence Day for these great United States of America and our First Amendment rights. Bring a flag, drive a tractor, drive a Jeep, drive whatever you have, and even a bicycle, and join the peaceful assembly on July 4th. Any and all updates on the peaceful assembly will be posted to our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replay along with news links and stories of local interest. And you, too, can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something you would like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 970-677-4119. And this just in, at 9 a.m. June 3rd, 2020, the newest member of our local Dolores County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Eric Stiasny, was sworn in by Sheriff Don Wilson and pinned by Eric's wife, Annie, with officers Braden and Perkett in attendance, along with a courtroom seating at a distance of family, co-workers, and friends. Congratulations to Deputy Stiasny. The county is glad to have another dedicated officer. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel or on our DCTV Daily News page, which is on Facebook. And if you like the program there, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.